Why does this stuff always happen to me? The chill started subtly, a draft I couldn't quite place. It was August, humid and thick, but the air around my desk at the Havenwood Public Library would suddenly turn frigid. I'd pull my cardigan tighter, attributing it to the ancient groaning HVAC system, but the feeling persisted, a creeping unease that settled in my bones. This stuff always happens to me. I hate it. I'm Sarah, 32, and I've been attracting the bizarre since I was a kid. Little things, mostly. A fleeting shadow in the corner of my eye, a misplaced object, a whisper that sounded like my name carried on the wind. I'd learned to dismiss them, to chalk them up to an overactive imagination or stress. Dr. Ellis, my therapist, calls it hypervigilance stemming from childhood trauma. He's probably right. My brother David died when we were kids. A tragic accident, everyone said. But sometimes I wonder. The library, a stately Victorian monstrosity, didn't help. It's the kind of building that creaks and groans even on the calmest days, a place where shadows gather in the corners and dust motes dance in the sunbeams like tiny ghosts. It was built in 1888 on land that used to be, well, let's just say it wasn't always a library. Local lore whispers of a cemetery, a pauper's field, a place where forgotten souls were laid to rest. It started with the books, not just random topples. I'm talking entire shelves emptying themselves onto the floor in the dead of night. My coworker, Martha, blamed it on faulty shelving, but I'd seen the shelves. Solid oak, bolted to the wall. They weren't going anywhere. Then there were the lights. Flickering, dimming, sometimes going out altogether for no apparent reason. Old wiring, they said. But old wiring doesn't hum with a low, guttural thrum that makes the hair on the back of your neck stand up. One afternoon, I was shelving books in the basement, a labyrinthine space filled with stacks of forgotten volumes and the musty scent of decay. The air was colder down there always, but this was different. This was a bone-chilling cold, the kind that seeps into your marrow. I heard a whisper, barely audible, like someone breathing directly into my ear. "Sarah." I spun around, heart hammering. No one. Just rows and rows of silent books, shrouded in shadow. I told myself it was the pipes, the ventilation, anything but what my gut was screaming that I wasn't alone. That night I confessed everything to Mark, my best friend since kindergarten. We were sitting on my porch, the cicadas buzzing in the twilight. Mark is the most grounded person I know, a pragmatic engineer who deals in facts and figures. "Sarah, you're working too hard," he said, his brow furrowed with concern. "You're stressed. That place is creepy, I'll give you that. It's just an old building." "It's more than that, Mark," I insisted, my voice trembling. "I feel it. Something's not right." He squeezed my hand. "Look, I know you've always been sensitive, but maybe you need to talk to Dr. Ellis again. Get some rest." I knew he didn't believe me, not really. But he was there listening, and that was enough for now. The next day, the librarian, Mrs. Peterson, called me into her office. "Sarah, Officer Reynolds was here this morning," she said, her voice tight. "Someone reported strange noises coming from the library late at night. He asked if we'd noticed anything unusual." I felt my stomach clench. I haven't heard anything, Mrs. Peterson," I lied. She looked at me, her eyes narrowed. "Well, let's try to keep things quiet, shall we? We don't want to alarm the town." That night the activity escalated. I was alone in the library finishing up some paperwork when the lights started flickering again. Then the temperature plummeted. I could see my breath fogging in the air. A book fell off a shelf, hitting the floor with a loud thud. I jumped, my heart racing. "Hello," I called out, my voice trembling. "Is anyone there?" Silence. Then a whisper, closer this time. "Sarah." I grabbed my purse and ran, fumbling with the keys as I locked up the library. As I hurried across the parking lot, I saw something in the window, a fleeting glimpse of a small boy standing in the darkness, his face pale and gaunt. David. I sped home, my hands shaking on the steering wheel. The house was dark and silent, but I felt like I was being watched. I locked all the doors and windows, drew the curtains, and huddled in my bed, clutching a pillow to my chest. That night I had the dream again. The one where I'm standing in the woods, searching for David. He's calling my name, his voice faint and distant. I follow the sound deeper and deeper into the trees until I come to a clearing. There in the center of the clearing is a well. I peer down into the darkness and I see David's face, pale and lifeless, staring up at me. I woke up screaming, drenched in sweat. The house was cold, colder than it should be. I got out of bed and walked to the window. As I pulled back the curtain, I saw it. A figure standing in the yard just beyond the fence line. It was tall and dark, its features obscured by shadow, but I could feel its eyes on me. I slammed the curtain shut and stumbled back to bed, my heart pounding. I knew I couldn't stay here. I had to get out. The next morning, I went to see Dr. Ellis. I told him everything about the library, the whispers, the apparition of David, the figure in my yard. He listened patiently, his expression calm and reassuring. "Sarah, I understand that you're experiencing a great deal of distress," he said, "but I think it's important to consider the possibility that these events are a manifestation of your anxiety and unresolved trauma. The anniversary of your brother's death is approaching. These are stressful times for you, but I saw it, Dr. Ellis," I insisted. "I know what I saw," he sighed. "Sarah, perception can be altered by stress and anxiety. We need to focus on managing your symptoms and exploring the underlying issues that are contributing to your distress." I left his office feeling defeated. No one believed me. They all thought I was crazy. Desperate, I turned to Mark. "I need your help," I said, my voice cracking. "I need you to believe me." He looked at me, his eyes filled with concern. "Sarah, I want to believe you," he said, "but I need something concrete, something I can see, something I can touch." "Then come to the library with me tonight," I said. "See for yourself." He hesitated for a moment, then nodded. "Okay," he said, "I'll come." That night we met at the library. The air was heavy with anticipation, a sense of dread that hung in the air like a shroud. As we walked through the front doors, I could feel the temperature drop. "This place gives me the creeps," Mark said, shivering. "Just wait," I said. We started in the basement. As we descended the creaking stairs, the air grew colder, the shadows deeper. I could hear the whispers, faint but persistent. "Sarah." Mark didn't hear anything, but I could see the unease growing in his eyes. We walked through the stacks, our footsteps echoing in the silence. Suddenly, a book fell off a shelf, landing with a loud thud. Mark jumped. "Okay, that's weird," he said. We continued our search, moving deeper into the basement. As we turned a corner, we saw it. A chair sitting in the middle of the room, rocking back and forth, back and forth. Mark stared at the chair, his face pale. "What the hell?" he whispered. Then we heard it, the whispers louder now, more distinct. They seemed to be coming from everywhere, all around us. "Leave, get out. This is not your place." Mark grabbed my arm. "Sarah, we need to get out of here," he said, his voice trembling. As we turned to leave, the lights flickered and died, plunging us into darkness. We fumbled for our flashlights, our hearts pounding in our chests. Then we heard a scream. A blood-curdling scream that echoed through the basement. It was coming from the main floor. We raced upstairs, our flashlights cutting through the darkness. As we reached the main reading room, we saw it. Books were flying off the shelves, shattering against the walls. Windows were breaking, sending shards of glass raining down. In the center of the room, a figure was swirling, a vortex of darkness and chaos. "What is that?" Mark gasped. "It's here," I said, my voice barely a whisper. "It's finally here." The figure turned towards us, its eyes burning with malevolent energy. A voice boomed through the room, a voice that seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere at once. "Sarah, you cannot escape your destiny." I knew then that I couldn't run anymore. I had to face whatever this was, whatever had been haunting me for so long. "Who are you?" I demanded, my voice trembling but firm. "What do you want?" The figure laughed, a cold, mocking sound that sent shivers down my spine. "I am the shadow that consumes," it said. "I am the darkness that dwells beneath this town, and I want what is rightfully mine." "What are you talking about?" I asked. "Your brother," the figure said. "He was promised to me, but you took him away." My blood ran cold. "David," I whispered. "What did you do to him?" The figure smiled, a cruel, twisted smile. "I showed him the truth," it said. "The truth about this town, the truth about your family. He couldn't handle it. He gave himself to me." I felt a surge of anger, a burning rage that consumed my fear. "You're lying," I said. "David would never do that, wouldn't he?" the figure said. "He was always weak, always afraid. You were the strong one, Sarah. You were the one who could have saved him." "No," I said. "That's not true. It is the truth." The figure said, "And now, it is time for you to join him." The figure lunged towards me, its hands outstretched. Mark stepped in front of me, shielding me from the attack. The figure slammed into him, sending him flying across the room. "Mark," I screamed. I ran to his side, kneeling beside him. He was unconscious, his face pale and bloody. "You will pay for that," I said, turning back to the figure. "You will pay for everything." The figure laughed. "What can you do?" it said. "You are just a weak, insignificant human." "I am not weak," I said. I am stronger than you think. I closed my eyes, focusing on the memories of David, the happy memories, the memories of love and laughter. I reached out to him, calling his name in my mind. David, I whispered, help me, please. Suddenly, I felt a surge of power, a warmth that flowed through my veins. I opened my eyes and looked at the figure. It recoiled, its eyes filled with surprise and fear. What is this? It said. What are you doing? I am taking back what is mine, I said. You have no power over me anymore. I raised my hand and a beam of light shot out, striking the figure. It screamed in pain, its form flickering and wavering. No, it cried. You cannot defeat me, I am too powerful. You are not powerful, I said. You are just a parasite feeding on fear and despair, and I am not afraid of you anymore. I unleashed another blast of energy and the figure exploded in a shower of darkness, scattering into nothingness. The lights flickered back on, the books stopped flying, and the windows ceased to break. The library was silent once more. I collapsed to the floor, exhausted and drained. I looked at Mark, his face still pale and bloody. I crawled over to him and checked his pulse. It was weak but steady. He was alive. I don't remember what happened next, only fragmented memories of flashing lights and sirens. They took Mark to the hospital. I went with him, answering questions from Officer Reynolds. He didn't believe my story, of course. He thought I was delusional, insane. He kept asking about the broken windows, the scattered books, the blood on the floor. I told him everything, but he just shook his head, his eyes filled with pity. Mark recovered. He doesn't remember much about what happened that night, just flashes of darkness and chaos, but he believes me now. He saw something, felt something. He knows that I wasn't imagining things, but the story doesn't end there. The nightmares are gone, the whispers have ceased, the shadows have receded, but I still feel a lingering unease, a sense that something is not quite right. I started seeing Mrs. Hawthorne again. She doesn't say much, just stares at me with her piercing blue eyes. You weakened it, she rasped one day, her voice like dry leaves rustling in the wind. But you didn't destroy it, it's still here waiting. Waiting for what? I asked. She smiled, a knowing, unsettling smile. Waiting for you to let your guard down. I tried to ignore her, to dismiss her words as the ramblings of an old woman. But I can't shake the feeling that she's right. I still work at the library. It's quiet now, peaceful, too peaceful. Sometimes when I'm alone in the basement, I can almost feel it, a faint presence lurking in the shadows, watching me, waiting. And I wonder, have I truly won? Or am I just delaying the inevitable? Did I contain it? Did I get rid of it? Did I save everyone or doom them? Sometimes I still see David in my dreams. He doesn't speak, just stands there, his face pale and sad. He's always pointing towards the well. I don't know what the future holds. I don't know if I'll ever be free of this curse. But I do know one thing, I will never stop fighting. I will never let the darkness consume me. But some nights when the wind howls and the shadows dance, I can't help but wonder if the darkness has already won. Maybe David, maybe Havenwood, and now maybe me. Why does this stuff always happen to me?